go. Hello and welcome to the Fresno City Toastmasters Club. I'm your president, Joey Myers, and we have a small little intimate group with us today, as you can see on the camera, and we got Sarah online with us. So welcome. And we always like to go over our mission statement, which is in the bottom left corner of our agenda, if you have one in front of you. And that mission statement reads, we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. And the big ones I always like to underline are right in the beginning, are supportive and positive learning experience, because we know how it is to public speak, being close to what death and taxes, I guess, is some of people's highest anxieties. Public speaking is up there too. So we just like to say that we have a supportive and positive learning experience here. Any kind of club business that we have, we just had our membership dues that were due. That was end of September. So we're fresh on a new journey for the end of April, I think it is the next one. Any other business? I think we have a board meeting coming up.
Can we confirm that right now?
Yeah, let's do that. Where's my? Yeah, because we need to do that, and we obviously can't do an open house until we meet and do that first. So let me see if it's actually on the calendar. Let's go by month. Come on in.
Danny?
Yes.
Danny?
You got it. Oh, okay.
We decide on a Monday, maybe. I don't see any of our Mondays. Were we on Mondays for that meeting?
I think so.
Mondays?
Yeah, I don't think we met.
Okay, so we need to do that then. We need to do that for October. So what, Sarah, Monday can we do? So we're probably gonna have to do open house. Might have to be more of like a Thanksgiving, before Thanksgiving type of thing, before we maybe go on break, maybe. So that would be like the 22nd would be our meeting then, November 22nd for an open house. 22nd shows a Tuesday.
Oh, for the open house.
Or is that, well, that actually, that's a week up, 15th, sorry, 15th. So November 15th, open house, possible open house. So let's meet, let's go back to October. Is that okay, Sarah, with you? Maybe, maybe not. So that's Tuesday, November 15th for the open house.
Sorry, I was just trying to pull up my calendar so I could check. You want to have an open house on the week of Thanksgiving? Is that what I'm hearing?
Hold on, let me, my computer is, ask that question again, Sarah, please.
Computer sound turned off?
Are you thinking of, did you say November 22nd?
November 15th. Let's see here. You weren't, she wasn't echoing before though.
Yeah. Hey, Sarah, do you have two devices plugged in there?
No.
Let's see. I don't know, she's echoing.
How about that camera over there?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe we do. Because ours has to be on the computer.
I think the volume's off.
Let's see. Oh, you know what? Yeah, that one is. See, I can't control that one though.
And touch the screen again. Is the volume off?
Sorry, Sarah.
I'm sorry, I don't even, it's not in the audio right now.
Because I'm not able to control that from my
Who else
spot.
logged in here? No?
Where this one's logged in,
So we just have the two?
and we couldn't find where to
We're
mute
not-
that one.
We're not logged into the audio on that one.
Oh, it's muted.
Yeah, it's not connected.
Oh. Okay. All right. Well, then we'll just deal with it.
Okay, so you said November 15th for the open house?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Is that okay?
Yep,
At least-
that works.
And then in October for our meeting, we probably need to, today's the 11th. So maybe, can we do the 17th next week, Monday? At noon,
Look again.
17th or 24th? Janelle, you okay with that? For the board meeting, 17th of October?
Danny?
Noon?
I can't do noon. I'm in a meeting until 12:30, so I could do 1 o'clock if we wanted.
Okay, let's do 1 then. Is 1 okay with you, Denny?
Yes.
All right, so 1 p.m. October 17th. And that's board meeting. Okay. All right, I'll send all that stuff out when I get home. If that works for everybody.
Mhm.
Huh? No, you don't have to, Corinne. You don't have to.
But you can if you want to.
Yeah, you can if you want to.
Well, if I can contribute something, I will.
Up to you.
I don't know what it is.
We can come and check it out
Is
Yeah.
that it? No, I was thinking it was on this one.
on this computer.
No.
Sarah, try talking into the mic again. Check 1 2, check 1 2.
Hello.
Check 1 2, check 1 2.
Here I am. Got me like a hurricane. Oh,
Say something.
How about now, Sarah? Can you hear us?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
Yep. So that just muted us, I think.
You didn't mute yourself. I can still hear you.
Weird. What if you turn the volume down on the computer? Because it's coming through the speaker, right? Or will it affect the speaker?
I think they're one and the same.
Okay.
She wasn't.
You should restart.
Comes out and comes back in. Can you try that maybe, Sarah?
Oh, what do you want?
So log out and then log back in. Maybe try
Oh,
that.
sure. Bye.
Okay. Okay. So, all right. Board, we got our board stuff all ironed out there. So on that, well, Sarah's gonna be our Toastmaster of the day. So when she comes back in here, we'll hand that back over to her. Yeah, good point. Here she is. Let's get that first. All right, Sarah, say something.
Hello. Do 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 do
No more.
do.
That's even better in a tune. Much better. All right. For whatever reason, that fixed it. That's the Nintendo cartridge solution. You just pull it.
Right, the reset.
All right, now, should I just have Sarah do that, or should I think the only open thing we have is the grammarian. Before I send this back over to Sarah as our Toastmaster. What do you got? Sarah, so she's odd counter. I can, so I'm the general evaluator. Let's see. Janelle, did you want to maybe try and, or you're speaking, huh?
Well, I can't look up a word.
Oh, that's true. Well, let me try and do that. May have to save me for last, or which usually is first. But I'll try and come up with something for that, for grammarian. Other than that, I think we have all our roles filled. So.
And then I'll get up and try to give a speech and then you can evaluate.
Okay. All right, I think ready to go, Sarah. Ready to toss it over your way for Toastmaster.
Wonderful. Hi, good morning. Afternoon. I am so glad I get to be Toastmaster on this day. I love facing your fears. That is just such a face your fear day. What an awesome thing to do. It is always exciting to me to be able to have that opportunity to face a fear. It's something that's been part of my life for most of my life, because I've been afraid of lots of things. So I have a fear of heights. And so then I choose to go rock climbing so that I can learn to get over it. And so just things throughout my life, I've been able to do that. This morning, as I was reading, the Bible is also something I absolutely love. And so there's all sorts of stories in there where they face their fears through faith. And the one that I was reading this morning is there was a guy who was employed in a place, and he was employed at this place, and he was working for this king, and this king was super, super evil and super, super bad. We think we have terrible people here in the United States. I don't, some people do, some people don't, I don't know. But anyway, whatever side you lie on that, if you're working for somebody who's truly evil and truly horrible, it's a scary thing to go and do this. And so the king had been after this one prophet that he called him a troublemaker. And so he's after this prophet. And so this guy that was working for him comes across this prophet and says, oh, so-and-so's been looking for you. And so the prophet says, well, I'm going to go and appear to him today. And so this guy that works for him is like, oh no, you want me to do what? You're sending my certain death. You're going to, you might just disappear again and you might not show up and all of this. And so he told him, go ahead and tell him, because I'm gonna appear to him today. So this guy overcame his fears. He went, and on the word of the prophet, he went over and he talked to this guy, and he did not die. And so he overcame, that's a legitimate fear, like somebody could possibly kill you. And so it just is exciting to me when people conquer it. I think a lot of our movies are all about overcoming fears. And, you could probably see it in so many different movies that we watch, even the silly little Hallmarks that I watch. It's just part of who we are, and we get excited and we rejoice with people when they do it, and we're cheering them on when they face their fears and they do something great. And so this is also why I love Toastmasters, because we get to face our fears and things that maybe we're not good at and get to challenge. And so this is what we get to do, is face our fears and overcome and be victorious and conquerors, and we get to do it together, and we get to rejoice together and cheer each other on. So it's really fun and exciting. And now I'm going to pass it back over to our general evaluator of the day.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm putting the finishing touches on our word of the day, which maybe I'll lead with that anyway, as we're talking about it. So the word of the day, so general evaluator, for those that haven't seen a Toastmaster meeting before, is I'm kind of the general of the meeting of our evaluation team, and I will introduce some of those members shortly. I will be filling the role as the grammarian, or the word of the day, which that person will listen closely to how grammatical we are during the meeting, but the biggest thing is using a specific word of the day, and it just changed on me. I'm trying to find the meaning of it here. Drove in a good turn down. Well, I lost a sentence, so I'm going to just bring that out, but it is self-explanatory in itself. Let me get rid of that. All right. So I put it in the chat. The word of the day is osculate. It is a verb, and what it means is to kiss, used with an object. So what I was thinking is that because this is the Face Your Fear Day, us Toastmasters, we have to almost osculate fear when we're embracing the fear as we work on getting better at our communication, our evaluation, and our leadership skills. So I'm going to keep track of who uses that in a sentence. Again, the word of the day is osculate. It's a verb, and it means to kiss, and it's used with an object. So with that question,
I think I'm a little confused about
osculate. So I would use, as a Toastmaster, when we join Toastmasters, we would like to osculate fear instead of push it away. To kiss fear right in the face.
Like
an object.
Analogy.
All right. Let me.
So it's kissing an inanimate object or an idea?
It says an object. It says a verb to kiss used with an object. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Few things are more enjoyable than a good kiss, but I turn down any offer to osculate.
Oh, so it's also.
For those cultures that do osculate, however, kissing conveys additional hidden messages. Should I try and type that out?
anybody? Is it just me that's confused?
For those cultures that do osculate,
For those cultures that
however,
kiss,
kissing conveys additional, might be hidden messages. And then the other sentence is few things are more enjoyable than a good kiss, but I'd
I have another
turn
definition.
down any offer to osculate. I know the spelling isn't the best there, but I was trying to get it out. You have another,
Here's
Danny?
another one. It says, today osculate is used in geometry for the action of a pair of curves or surfaces that touch so that they have a common ground at the point of contact.
There you go. So it's like two numbers kissing.
It says when it's,
Two
when it's
ideas
used to
kissing.
mean kiss, it's usually typically humorous.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
That's even better.
So that we cleared that up. Grammarian word of the day, by the way, came up with that right as Sarah was given her beautiful theme for today. So the next person on our list, so we'll see how we do that, how do on osculate, using osculate in a sentence. The next person on our list is Miss Sarah Dawson. She's gonna be our counter of the day. Sarah? She's there she is.
Oh. Sorry, you caught me with food in my mouth. I don't think I read that part, that I was going to be off counter. So, off counter, it's always a fun time. We get to be able to pay attention to some of the crutch words that we use. One of my favorites is like, and not in the right or appropriate context. It's usually like this and like that and every other word. So that's something that I need to pay attention to more so that I can be able to speak more professionally. So this is why we get to do this piece, is just to help us be more aware of the things that could cause our speech to not be heard by others. So I will get to report back to you some of the things that I'm hearing from others, or if you did it perfectly today, woohoo, and we will celebrate. So back to you, Joey.
Thank you, Sarah. All right. Sarah almost swallowed her tongue there when I said that. When I said she was off counter, kind of the same thing with the grammarian thing there. But that's what it all is about. Face your fear day. The fear of having to do something that you didn't know what you were going to have to do. That's part of that fear, right? And then the next person on our list is Mr. Karen Katenjian. He's our timer of the day. So come on up, Karen.
Speaking of the fear day. Well, timing is not really my forte, but I'll try my second round at this. So if it's a table topic, we have to have 2-minute speech, right? So I will show green at 1 minute, yellow at 1.5 minutes, and red at 2 minutes, which means if it's beyond that, then you're out of time. Are we going to have a speech today?
Janelle?
How long?
Are you guys okay with that? Yeah.
How long is yours?
Planned?
Yeah.
5 to 7.
Yeah, it'll be 5 to 7.
Okay, in a case of 5 to 7 speech, the green will come at 5 minutes, yellow at 6 minutes, and red at 7 minutes. Is that okay? So that's basically what I'm going to do today.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, Corinne. And then I think Denny's going to be doing the evaluation. So that'll be what, 2 to 3? 2 to 3 minutes. All right. Thank you, Corinne. And then the other person on the list is a Zoom master, which I'm doing, and being here in person. This is just more of making sure we're recording this. If we have somebody online doing it, that's even better, because then they can take and move the panes around a little bit. And what we kind of like to do with the speeches is, or the evaluation is, have the evaluator speak in, and then in the other pane have the speaker there getting the constructive feedback from the evaluator themselves. So me being here in person, there's a little bit too much going on for me to do that, but we'll at least be recording. So though, for those of you watching this on YouTube, that's why you're watching it on YouTube. Other than that, I think we're good to go. I can pass this back over to Sarah, Miss Sarah Dawson, our Toastmaster of the day, to do her best about putting together a somewhat of an intro for Miss Janelle West and her impromptu speech. So take it away, Sarah.
Thank you so much. Janelle West, she came in and I love how she just sits back, she observes, and then she just goes for it. And it's always interesting to hear her speeches because even if she feels like she's not prepared, she always has a very clear thought and a concise. And so it's great to just be able to learn from that. And so I am excited to hear what she has to say. Hope you guys will join us. Yay, Janelle.
All right, I want you all to close your eyes for a moment and join me in a little exercise, okay? Imagine that you are falling through the sky at over 100 miles an hour. The wind is just blasting in your face and in your ears. It's so loud that you couldn't hear anybody scream even if you wanted to. You're trying to keep your feet up, but they keep wanting to fall down because of the pressure. And you're almost terrified to open your eyes because every time you do, you see the ground that is thousands of feet away from you, and you are hurtling at it as quickly as you can. Go ahead and open your eyes. Yes, this is the story about the time that I went skydiving. Now, before I jump into that though, let me give a little bit of background about myself that is relevant to this topic. I am somebody who grew up having an immense number of fears, and most of them irrational, right? Like afraid of snakes. Doesn't matter if it's a poisonous snake or if it's a harmless little garter snake, terrified of it. Afraid of roller coasters, like didn't even want to, get on the little kiddie ones. I was so scared. Social anxiety, afraid of even half the time leaving my house and being with people. A lot of unfortunate stuff that I had to learn to overcome. When I was in high school, I managed to get over my fear of roller coasters because my family was going with some of our friends to Six Flags Magic Mountain, Santa Clarita. And I told myself, okay, today is the day. I'm just going to get over this fear and I'm going to go on every single ride in the park, even the scariest ones. And I did, and had a horrible headache by the end of the day because that's what those things do to you. I got over my fear. When I was 18, I decided to get over my fear of social anxiety in a big way by moving to Missouri to go to college where I didn't know anybody and was completely forced to meet new people or I wouldn't have had anybody to talk to. And then in more recent times, I decided that I was going to get over my fear of falling, which has been a big fear of mine also since I was young, by actually going skydiving, something that terrifies me. So for Christmas, a couple of years ago, my family got me a skydiving certificate to skydive Yosemite. It's actually not in Yosemite. It's up, if you drive up to 41, it's past Oakhurst. They call it Skydive Yosemite because they claim if you're looking in the right direction while you're falling, you might be able to catch a glimpse of Yosemite. So it was a Saturday morning, terrified as I was. My sister said that she would drive up there with me. So we got in the car and headed up the windy roads. Eventually it takes you to a dirt road that I thought we were going to be on forever just to reach the place where they have the airport and where you jump. So we get there and head over to the big outside tent that they have where all of the skydiving equipment is under, and we check in. We have to sign, the piece of paper that says, if you die, it's not our fault, which is always really comforting. And there was several people in front of us, so I had to wait for a while and watch other people go through the lesson of how to put their harness on, how to fall safely, and then get taken over to a bus would take you over the runway where you get loaded into components. So of course, this whole time I'm waiting, just my anxiety is intensifying with every moment that I have to wait until finally it's my turn to get suited up, and I'm paired with the guy that I was going to jump in tandem with because you can't go by yourself your first time. And they load me onto the bus and drive me over to the airstrip. And the first disconcerting thing was that we get to the plane, and the guy who's going to fly the plane, firstly, he doesn't look like he's much older than 19. And as we're getting into the plane, he starts going into this speech about how, we haven't used this plane in a long time because it's a really old one, and I was just doing some some mechanic work on it last week. So really comforting. Hopefully, everything's going to be fine. So we climb into the plane, and there are, besides the pilot, there's 4 of us. There's me and another girl who are each jumping tandem. So 2 of us, unexperienced jumpers, and then 2 instructors. And I get in, my instructor and I get in last. So that means we're seated closest to the door, and we're going to be the ones to jump first. So we get into the plane, start to climb speed. And as anybody who is familiar with these little planes knows, it's actually much safer once you jump out of the airplane. The skydiving part is much safer than the actual plane statistically, because the rate of deaths from skydiving is very, very low when you consider the overall number of jumps. But deaths from private little plane crashes is a little higher. So we get up there, we finally get to, I think it was a 10,000 foot jump that we were going to do. And my heart rate is continuing to increase the whole time. We get there. They open the door, it swings out like this, and then instantly you're just exposed to the outside and all of the air. And the idea is you're strapped to this other person, and you're just supposed to basically just lean, and then you fall out. So they open the door, and I start screaming, just out of my mind, terrified. I'm really freaking out. The guy that I'm tied tandem to is trying to calm me down and say, it's okay. The other girl who was going to jump in the plane was trying to encourage me to jump, because she's like, if you don't jump, I can't go. I want to go, you're holding us up here. But the culmination of that is that I was so scared that I couldn't jump. And they had to land the plane and let me and my guide get off, and then go back up with the other girl so she could jump, because the plane is so tight we couldn't switch places in the air. And that is my experience of going skydiving. Yes, the truth is I did not actually do it. The only way, here's the secret, that I was able to explain what it felt like falling through the air is because I did an indoor skydiving simulator in Kansas City, where you just walk in and the airflow pumps you up, and then you practice formation for skydiving. So there, as I said at the beginning, I had a lot of fears. I think that there's a lot of them that I have successfully been able to get over in my life so far. Fear of skydiving, and by association, fear of falling, is one that I have not conquered yet. But I am hopeful and still looking forward to that my life is not over. And there may be a time in the future when I will have another chance to successfully conquer that fear. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Janelle, for sharing that. I love that it is so hopeful and so looking forward to the future. There are some things that you have conquered and some things that not quite yet, but I like that, not quite yet. It's not like you've given up on it completely, but it's not the right time yet. And so I really appreciate you sharing that, and thank you. I think Janelle's our only speaker today. With that, then I will pass it over to our table topics master.
Corinne.
Yay.
Double duty today.
Well, I do believe our subject matter today matches with the upcoming Halloween. So if you look at the board,
Or just you can just read it.
Okay, I chose 3 variations on the same scary topic. Basically, what was your scariest day is one of them. What was your worst day is the second one. And what was your most challenging day is the third one. You can take a combination of 2 or 3, or you can answer all 3, because they're very intertwined as far as scariness is concerned. or fear. So that's my suggestion of the day for the table.
Wait, I heard scariest, challenging, and what was the middle one?
Worst.
Worst.
Worst in your life, yes. Scariest, challenging, most challenging, and worst. Mhm. Thank you.
You can either volunteer, ask for volunteers, or if there's no volunteers, then you can volunteer.
Okay, so who would come first and volunteer?
You can also lead it too. You can do one yourself or wait. It's up to you.
Okay, I'm still learning. All right, I'll start from my own. My scariest day in my life, that was the day I took the bar exam, actually. The day before, I realized that I have overstudied everything. I know everything. I'm ready for it. And basically, what do I need to do is to relax. So I watched a fish called Wanda, and I went to bed. And the next day, I'm coming to this site where we are taking the exam, and I see tens or even 100 of ambulances lined up. And I just ask, what's going on? Why are the ambulances here? Well, they say people faint, people die, people get anxiety, or, this is the first day of the bar exam. And I say, well, if I fail today or whatever, I don't want to go there. I'm just going to, what was that word? Osculate my destiny goodbye, So at that point, I'm entering the room. There is like big audience and everybody is ready to go. And they put the timer on, so it starts. We need to write essays, but my heart is pounding and I just can't get like to the normal state where I can write my first sentence. All of a sudden, you realize I need to go outside to visit a certain place, right? So I go there, and there is an exam security standing in front of the door for the mail room. So I say, I want to enter, sir. He says, I'm going to accompany you. I say, why? He says, because, first of all, he says, is it one or two? I say, it's two, but I lied. I just wanted my privacy. So I just entered the cabin, and he says, I'm coming with you. I say, why? I need to check certain things. So I'm just standing there. He's in the cabin. I don't know what he's checking. He says, do not close the door. You have to really leave it half open. I say, why? He says, well, in case I need to help you or I need to see something. I said, you don't have to see anything. I'm just doing my regular too. So I'm just doing it. And there I'm standing there. Well, women usually stand, you know that. And it's just, I'm starting laughing over the situation. I completely forgot my fear. I don't care about anything. This is just so hilarious that I forgot where I was. So I just go into that room and I thank God and the exam security for what happened, and just start racing through my essay. So that was my most challenging day where I could have osculate my destiny, but I didn't. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we need the volunteers, right? Yeah.
Hi, Sarah. My scariest day was combined with my most hopeful day because it was the thing I wanted most in life, to be a professional photographer. However, I was not trained in school. I didn't go to college to become a photographer. I was already a mother at home with children, but I had a camera and I knew what I wanted to do. I was working for a law firm at the time. And what I needed to do was pick up the phone like this. I needed to pick up the phone like this and make a phone call. And it was the scariest thing in the world. I had gone to a wedding convention, lied to everybody, and said that I was a bride so that I could find the best photographer in Los Angeles, so that I could then beg myself off on him and get him to teach me photography. I found the guy, but then to make the phone call, honestly, I picked up the phone about 20 times and I dialed and then I hung up. And then I went back to my desk and went to work. And then I went back and I dialed. It probably took me 2 months, honestly, to connect the phone call. But when I did, when I finally overcame my fear, and believe me, I was still afraid, there was a very nice person on the other end who said, I'd love to talk to you. Come on in, bring some of your work, bring your camera. Let's see what we can do. From that point, I ended up working with that gentleman for over 20 years. And he just passed away last year. So he was just a tremendous mentor to me, somebody who helped me so much to overcome my fears. He taught me everything that I needed to know, but I had to make that phone call. So thank you. Never leave the podium empty.
All right, so who's next?
I can go.
All right, thank you.
This is probably the scariest day of my life. I was about 19 years old. I was in Yosemite. We went there every year for family encampment. There was a guy that I had gone rock climbing with before this a couple of times, and he was going up. I don't know if you guys know anything about Lost Arrow Spire, but if you've ever been to Yosemite and you can see Yosemite Falls, if you look off to the right, there's this spire that's jutting out from the mountain about 3,000 feet in the air. And that is where we were headed that day. I woke up that morning and I headed over to Lost Arrow Spire. We drove all the way to the back and we walked in from the backside to go over to the top of Yosemite Falls and then be able to go around to this Lost Arrow Spire. In order to get over there, it's a traverse about 200 feet or more from one side to the other. If you don't know what a traverse is, I don't know if you've ever seen Cliffhanger, but the opening scene of Cliffhanger where he's going across on a little pulley. So imagine a rope connected between 2 points really high up in the air, then putting your harness on and putting it on a pulley, and then having to go across to the other side. And you get to the other side and there's just a very small space where about 3 or 4 people can sit on the top of this rock overlooking Yosemite Falls. Interestingly enough, a few years before that, a friend of mine had sent me a postcard from Yosemite with somebody doing that very thing, carrying a flag across that thing. And she said, "This guy's crazy. Who would ever do something like this?" Well, it turns out that was the day it was me, and I was crazy enough to do that. And when you're talking about facing your fears, I was so terrified, my hands were sweating, but I was able to get over to the top and I could barely breathe and I could barely talk. But we played a card game while we were on top, and then I got to go all the way back over, and that was probably the scariest day of my life. And I did it because I think a lot of people, I think my rationale was, well, you know, people smoke, drink, do drugs, and have all these great stories to tell, but I didn't do any of those things, so I had to have something to tell my grandchildren. So that's my scariest day. Thank you very much, Karen.
Thank you, Sarah. All right, are there any more volunteers? Joey Myers.
Thank you, sir. Let our timer go. Well, this will be a story. I have a little friend, brought a little friend in with me, my son, my 9-year-old over here. He's reading his book. This will probably be a story that he will have not heard yet, but his mom and I were studying abroad in Italy, and we were getting ready for a trip to go to Spain. We were going to stay in Madrid. And at the time, we'd had a friend that we'd taken an Italian course at Fresno State for a semester. He was in that course. He spoke Spanish, but he was going to go study abroad in Spain. He was going to study in Madrid. And that particular day, we were going to meet him and stay with him and have a good time and things like that. And he was going to show us around. He happened to be in Sevilla that day, or the day prior, I think. He was on some sort of a school excursion. So we took the overnight bullet train through France and moving around Italy to France into Spain, and our train had stopped around 6 a.m. and we had people going through that were checking passports, and it was just really weird. It was kind of out of the ordinary, but like, oh, okay, whatever, when in Rome. So we just woken up, probably been half hour woken up, and they're checking the passports and delayed us for about an hour and a half. And then we end up getting the train moving. We end up getting diverted into Barcelona. That's where the second yellow flag, not red flag, popped up. And when we arrived in the Barcelona train station, everybody was going nuts. And the TVs that were on in the train station, it was crazy things. I mean, we're coming from, at the time, was fairly docile, passive, not really a lot going on in the United States, and being over there and all this crazy stuff. So what ended up happening was that was the Madrid train bombings in 2004.
Oh.
And that coming from, again, the United States, where we hadn't had anything like that at the time. And I think that's when the terrorism had just kind of started. There wasn't a lot of it. And to almost be on your way going there was crazy. And after the fact, everything going on, we weren't able to call our parents, so think about what our moms, now us being kids or us being parents, what us parents would be thinking in that scenario, not hearing from your kids. They knew we were going there. They knew that's where we were going. They're seeing on TV a good 8-9 hour delay. And so we ended up spending some time there. And then we finally called our parents when we got into Ireland, because we were on our way there, and they were pissed, especially Mama Bears. So that was one of the most challenging times in our life, but scariest times for our parents and our parents' life. But it was an experience nonetheless. That's probably the first time that he's heard that story. So, sir?
Thank you, Joey.
Yes, sir.
Any other volunteers? Again, the topics are what was your scariest day? What was your worst day? Or what was your most challenging day in your life?
I know, it's just me. I think it's 12:49, so
Okay.
if you wanna
Yeah,
move
probably
on
wrap
to
it up.
the videos evaluation.
All right,
Yeah, so-
thank you.
Mhm. Thank you, Corinne.
You're welcome.
All right, with that, great topic. I think that was a good to go along with our theme and all that good stuff. So I'm going to now bring up Denny to do our evaluation of Janelle's speech, impromptu.
Janelle, good job on being on the spot, in the minutes. That was very good. You started us out with an exercise of closing our eyes. So you brought us right into the experience immediately. I like that you stood back a little bit like this, and that gave me more of a sense of, you just looked really comfortable up here. I didn't feel like you were holding on to anything, looking at notes, any of that. And I kind of like you impromptu. That's nice. You're always very super organized in your speeches when you have them written out. And that seems, it's a very different feel to your speech when you're impromptu. But I like it. It's very comfortable. You're great with hand gestures as well. You have this, I think you had it set up, you're a little bit taller than I am, but you did it so that hand gestures were visible. You were comfortable this way and had room to walk around. It was good. And in this particular instance of your speech, you used a lot of humor. And I think that comes through. I don't know if you intend to do that, but it comes through in relaying your experience, because you do have a subtle sense of humor and are able to bring a humorous perspective to experiences. If there was anything to work on, I would only say that I would love to see you look out at the audience a little bit more. You did look over at me, you absolutely did. I noticed that you looked at everyone, and I'm sure that you looked into the camera. There's a tendency as the next thought is coming forward that the eyes cast down a little bit. And so that would be the only thing I could come up with that would make it better. But I really do enjoy listening to your speech. Impromptu. That was good. I think you should do that more. Thank you.
Thank you, Denny. Great evaluation. As always, Ms. Denny, she's our resident Capitana evaluator. Can learn a lot from Denny. And then, so that was our evaluation. And now let's go down our evaluation team here. So first, let's start with Corinne on our timer report.
Yes. Thank you, Joey.
Yes, sir.
Okay, first things first, that was Janelle's speech, right? So it was 7 minutes and 45 seconds. So you were a little bit above the mark of 7 minutes. But excellent speech, I enjoyed it. On our table topics, Sarah, 2 minutes and 9 seconds. Denny, 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Joey, 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And I was
3:15.
Yeah, on the rights of a table. Table topic master, huh? I just exceeded my timing. Okay. And then his evaluation remark lasted 2 minutes and 14 seconds. All right, those are the times.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Thank you, Corinne, for that timing evaluation. And Sarah, do you want to tell us how we did odd counter?
Yes. Well, I need to apologize to Janelle. I was so enthralled and excited about all the skydiving adventures that I completely forgot that I was supposed to keep track of your catchwords. So if you had any, it was nothing that distracted from your speech whatsoever. Great job on that. Karin, the okay so there were 3 that were okay or okay so as you're transitioning. A couple of all rights. A couple of times I thought it might be who's that? Matthew McConaughey. All right. But it was only 2, not 3. So you're good on that one. And Denny, you had also a so thank you right at the tail end of your table topics, and then one in your evaluation. Joey, I didn't hear anything. If you did, I didn't write anything down. So
I think I got them all in before you actually were officially on the clock and counting.
That's good. You got it out of the way. So then you know when you have to go give a speech, you better talk a lot before you go so you're prepared and warmed up.
Run some sprints before.
That's right. All right. That's it. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think grammarian word of the day, osculate. It was a little tough to use in the beginning, tough to figure out how to use it. And I did get Corinne, he did it twice. I don't know if it was sounded right to me, and I'm going with that.
I kept forgetting the pronunciation
word.
of the word, you know.
And the big thing with the word of the day is we're trying to stretch our vocabulary a little bit so that we got word and also too to be able to speak on the fly. Some people are able to work that word into a speech. You could have prepared a speech, you come in, you don't even know what the word of the day is. And some people do a pretty good job of working the word into the
Yeah, all I got was a different kind of kissing.
Yeah, right. So I liked how you used it. I don't know if it was correct, but I liked how you used it, and that table topics would probably be a good one for you, Corinne, to do a speech around, because I know you're trying to rush to get it all in 2 minutes. That'd be a good speech to just tell that again, but in speech form. Yeah, yeah, very good. All right, I think that was it. So Corinne was the one that used it, and you used it twice. And that's it for our evaluation team. I'm gonna do a general evaluation of the meeting. I think we started somewhat on time. We're going to end probably a little bit more on time on this one. If I can pass the torch back to the president of and he doesn't speak too much. But I think for fear, the theme, the Face Your Fear Day, I think we did a good job. I think a lot of us got put in positions, Corinne being in a couple positions that timing he's done once before, and then table topics was his first time, and doing roles, picking up roles without not knowing.
Here, there.
Right. Sarah picking up a role, me having to on the fly pick up a word of the day, but that's all part of the Toastmasters experience. And that's in real life, you're going to have situations like that. And that's why we all come for different reasons, but all these are benefits to real work life type of things that we come into contact with, challenges that we come into contact with. So I think overall we did a great job. Thanks. And Janelle obviously giving an impromptu speech with no notes, as Denny was talking about. The impromptu Janelle is a little different than the organized Janelle. They're both great, but with the impromptu, you really can't, there is no organization to it. So you have to bring a little bit more emotion into it. And I think having that little bit of a dry humor that she brings in is great. It's great to see. And it's something for everybody out there to think about in terms of, if you wanted to join Toastmasters, the speeches that you do, challenge yourself in those two different, have one that's organized, try one that's impromptu. It's very, very scary, but I think it's very, very beneficial. So overall, great meeting. And with that, I'll pass it back over to me, which I will now do some rewards so we can get out of here on time. So I mentioned Corinne filling 2 roles, 1 role hasn't done before. So great work there. Sarah filling a role that she didn't even know she had. Almost swallowed her tongue. Well, 2 roles, right? But 1 role she knew that she didn't have. So in more impromptu. Janelle for giving an impromptu speech, and Denny for doing an impromptu evaluation. So we all did, I think, pretty good today. Now let's take a look at our agenda real quick. So next week, I would like to actually take on the Toastmaster for that word, that exit scale day. That you guys and gals probably don't know what that means. You'll like it when I let it go. It has something to do with science and things like that. It's kind of goofy, but I'll jump into that one for Toastmaster. Do we have anybody? It's a surprise. Does anybody want to do a speech next week on the 18th of October? That's the day after our exec board meeting. No.
Like this icebreaker, a 5-minute speech.
4 to 6.
4 to 6. I'll try to do
Wanna
my
give it a shot?
icebreaker.
Okay, perfect. Okay, Corinne. All right, anybody you want to jump into table topics or general evaluator?
Sure.
Which one, Sarah?
Oh, I always like table topics, but if somebody's real excited about it, I can pass it off.
I was gonna volunteer for general evaluator.
Okay, perfect. So Sarah, table topics, and Janelle, general eval, grammarian, Janelle, and I can do evaluator as well for Corinne's speech. Zoom, I'll do Zoom. Denny. Let's do. Want to do odd counter, Denny? I think that's maybe Kalani. I'll write her in here for timer. And Corinne, we'll just let you focus on your speech.
I can be the grammarian if you want.
On speech day?
Well, I'll pick up a word.
Okay. You want to do that?
It's
Grammarian?
not that difficult.
Is that okay, Chanel?
Sure.
Yeah? You sure?
Do I have to use the word in my own speech? Or?
Yes.
You sure? Why don't you just focus on the speech?
Okay, that's fine.
Chanel, let Chanel do the Chanel thing. All right. Cool. So any other speeches on October 25th or November 1st? We good there? All right. Any questions? Oh, we're a little behind. Any questions, comments, or criticisms before we let you go, Sarah Dawson? No? And everybody else. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of the week. Great work today. Keep up the wonderful work. See you, Sarah.
Bye, everyone. See you next week.
See ya.